What's up, Wargamers? Welcome back to World of Wargaming, and more specifically, welcome back to my pile of opportunity, where I've got something that I am very, very excited to crack open and share with you today. Today, we're going to rip into this. The Warcrow Winds of the North 2-player introductory battle pack, which a friend of mine was kind enough to let me open on camera before we get it put together and start getting some games in. This is the fantasy offering from Corvus Belli, kind of the fantasy alternative as opposed to Infinity. They're more well-known and more established game. So let's get into this. So now that we've got it out of the box, let's just do a quick inventory, take a look at what's in here, and then we'll take a closer look at everything. We got bases, we got dice. Now these are not regular D8s. They do have their own special symbols on them, so worth noting that it's a proprietary dice system, which isn't always bad, but isn't always great either. We got character cards, so that we know what everybody does. Love when these are part of a game, because it just makes everything easier. We have an introductory booklet. I don't know how much of the rules this is. I don't know if it's something that's very tailor-catered to this box. I don't know. I'll have to read through it. I'm not sure. I was hoping it was going to be a full rule book in the box, and it might be, but I don't know. And then we've got this. Now, this is much, much, much nicer than I thought it was going to be. I was definitely expecting more paper cardstock, but no, this is like heavy-duty, thick cardboard. And that's going to be your movement templates, counter, like tokens and your tokens and markers, 2 buildings, 4 fences, 2 walls, 4 terrain templates. That's going to be like these pawns and stuff. And then a paper gaming map, which is 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters, which as a Freedom Unit user, it's hard for me to picture that off the top of my head. I'm guessing it's probably about 2 feet by 2 feet, but maybe... No, here we go. 23.6 by 23.6 inches. So right just shy of 2 feet by 2 feet. So if you use 2 by 2 mats, I don't think it'll matter that you're going to be off like a little less than a half an inch. I think that'll be fine. And then we have the tray of models, which not gonna lie, I am pleasantly surprised to see that these are resin models. I was fully expecting them to be a bunch of metal models, because that was my experience with Infinity, but no, these look to be all resin sculpts, which I love, because I don't really love building models, and metal models can be an absolute nightmare, especially depending on how they're split and cut up. Sometimes they're just really, really, really a pain to get through. But I like that these are going to be resin. So the 2 forces in the book are soldiers from the cosmopolitan nation of Lindverm and the ruthlessly aggressive northern tribes, which are composed of orcs and varanks, whatever a varank is. Assuming this is going to be one of our city soldiers. But lovely, lovely detail. Very crisp. Good detail, but not over-designed. His bits and bobs. Another of our soldiers of Lindverm. I really, really like this model, how it's split. I really like his coat. Looks like it's just going to go together nice and smooth and easy. Not too much to even really clean up on these models, man. They're super clean. Nice light armor, sword and board kind of boy. Nice, again, good crisp detail on that shield. We got a friend who looks like he might be reaching for a stick of dynamite or a potion maybe, or some other type of flung weapon. Must be a perfumer. I think these are going to be a good time to paint. Oh no, he's some kind of doctor. He's got a plague mask on. So probably some type of field medic or something, I'm going to guess. Another sword and border. This one with a little bit more to clean up, but he also comes with a tactical rock, the importance of which can never be forgotten or negated. Another soldier. This one's got, I think, a really great pose and a great look to his face with that arm swept back with the blade. Fair amount of stuff to clean up here on the shield arm, but that's acceptable. There should, no, like I said, there should be, but there's always going to be a little bit to clean up, and that's okay. Last up for the homies is this fellow with a wonderful winged hussar vibe to him, with this kind of backpack con that will come up off of the back of his armor. He's a bit more heavily armored than his compatriots. He also has a different style sword. He's got a bit more of a saber as opposed to their more deeply curved swords, almost scimitarish, but maybe not as deeply curved as a scimitar. I'm not sure what that would be. Maybe that's also a saber. Anyways, his looks a little bit different. Up next, we have the orcs. Starting with a she-orc. I really like her hair. I think it looks really nice. The arms are nice and beefy. The model's got great detail, but again, not overworked. We've got what looks to be a caster orc. This is kind of cut straight down the middle. Let's flip that backpack over. Get a good look at all that lovely detail. With the flame, that'll be fun. We'll play around with some OSL or something on that maybe. We got our big war boss looking guy, I'm assuming, with his big cape and the big skull thing and the big nice, I don't know, kind of like a gladius, but maybe bigger than a gladius would be. Just bellowing Loktar Ogar to the masses. Big old wizened orc with a big old beard and a big old spiked club. These might be some of my favorite orc models, fantasy orc models that I've seen. I really like their kind of heavy barbarian vibe, and I like that there's a range. Like, they don't all just look like copy-paste orcs, which is what you get sometimes. We got a big two-hand axer. He's got massive Teen Wolf vibes on the head, which I love. I like this leg armor, this kind of thigh covering where the chest piece kind of comes down to mid-thigh. I like that a lot, and I like the shape of that axe. It's almost like more of a cleaver head than an axe head. I love all these big horns and stuff. Another dual sword wielding orc. Nice running pose, good solid chunky, just not a whole bunch of pieces involved in it. Nice flowing hair. Good expression on the face. Last of our orcs has a massive tactical rock, a big old sword, and one hand kind of out with that classic come get some kind of pose, like I'm focusing. Love these orcs, man. The human side is really cool. They're really nice models, but I love these orcs. We got our character cards, front and back. These are fine. They're heavy. They feel good. They've got all the information on them. I just love it when it's like a standard playing card size so that I can fit them into sleeves. But there's a lot of information on here. I think that if they had put these on regular size cards, they would be absolutely just impossible to read and understand. And then lastly, we have these sheets, which are double wrapped. Cannot express how much I love that. The instructions are part of the outer covering. I love that. It's less stuff, less scrap, less waste. A nice little just shy 2x2 map. This is a really nice print. I don't love paper mats. I don't really like the way they feel that much. And I don't like how they reflect light and they're kind of glossy on the camera. But for playing at home, I think they're absolutely, playing not on camera, I think they're absolutely acceptable. I have zero problems with them, really. And then we've got our sheets in here, which I'm going to be very, very careful with so as to hopefully not knock anything loose. But we got our first building, and this reminds me a lot of the battle systems terrain. I'm not exactly sure what these little pins right here are for, but I like how they just found a spot in each of the sprues or whatever you want to call them to fit that in. And the prints are double-sided, so you got stuff happening on both sides. You probably will want to go over these and paint the edges. I'm really excited about these because because the pawns that I have work really well, but they're really big and chunky. They're kind of homemade ones that I did. I wish there were more pawns in there. And then we've got these things, which I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to make sure that I don't lose those. Our counters, 2 rulers. It looks like the game does use centimeters. And we got a built-in movement widget. Interesting that it uses centimeters because I want to say Infinity uses inches. But I could be absolutely positively all the way wrong and off base about that. Let me see if I can stack these things back up so that I can put these little pins back in here, so I don't lose them before I figure out what they are for. And then we've got our booklet, which I'm not going to dig into per se right now. Just kind of flip through, take a look at some of the art. You get some lore on both tribes. You get some lore on like the individual members of the groups. And then we've got our learn to play, distance and measurements, what the tokens do, what the dice do. Some couple of scenarios, or you get a practice game, like a game that's set up for you. Or maybe these are different states. So campaign, that's good to know that the game is meant to be played as a campaign. I like that. I love campaign play. And then we've got scenarios 1, 2, 3. End of campaign. So a 3 campaign scenario, and I would hope that the full rulebook, and this might be the full, this might be it. But it said, because it says introductory booklet, that makes me think that there is a full rule book out there somewhere that will have deeper information, more scenarios, that kind of stuff. But this will do. This will do just fine to get started and to learn how to play the game. And that, my friends, is going to do it for this trip, this excursion, this spelunk into the pile of opportunity. Thanks so much for tuning in and hanging out while we opened up Warcrow from Corvus Belli. I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day.